right, today we're going to do a video on doing some unsawn wood texture. It's kind of hard to see in the, it's just called unsawn wood. It's got good texture, kind of looks like a wood grain, and we're going to try that just on the sides, the top, and the other side. Then we're just going to leave these as just a kind of a textured finish like you would on a road cabinet or something. So I already went and rolled on a coat of this, and this we got at the local Sherwin-Williams store. It was a mist tint, and we got it for $7 a gallon, and it's supposed to be magic black. Looks good enough for me. It's a satin finish. It'll work. Yep, we just used a cheap roller, gave them a coat. We came back, we sanded them quick. Took about 3 minutes a cabinet to sand, just knock them down. So some of these cabinets get a little white specks when you sand them. So yeah, yep. And now we're gonna do a close up on the top as we do the texture, and we're gonna let it dry really well. And then we're gonna take our garbage gun, which I call it a garbage gun because basically you use it once or twice and you throw it in the garbage. They're from Harbor Freight. I think that I spent like $10 on. And then we're gonna shellac the whole thing with the garbage gun. Then we'll come back and sand it, and that will give us our texture. Will look like texture. We're gonna use a 2-inch chip brush, which I have taken a bunch of the bristles out of it. I think they're kind of stiff, and I've used it a few times. And then we're gonna use just a broom. It's a nylon bristled broom, really hard bristled. That's what we're gonna pull to leave all them marks in there. So, yeah, we'll get started on the video. Called the Gorilla Coffins. There's a horn tweeter, 15-18, kind of a 2.5 way. We'll close up on the camera here and show you what we're doing. As you can see, I used a brush when I was doing the roller. I kind of just brushed the green the way I wanted it to, but that is not what we are. Let's dip some in the paint. I really want it to stand up. Here and just doing some random once we sand it, you kind of start to understand where we're going with it. So like I said, it's just going to be a simulated wood grain. There, we'll just move on to the sides. Then we'll move on to the other cabinet. It'll give it that texture that we're looking for there. So it's been about 4 hours. We lightly scuffed it with some red Scotch-Brite. Just went over it lightly. We are going to tack cloth it off with a tack cloth. Make sure any little fuzzies are gone. And then we're going to put some shellac on it. And I just use the regular shellac. That's what I have laying around, so that's what I use. We're gonna use the garbage gun, and we're just gonna put it on light just enough to turn it to a shine. That's it. We're not trying to make any build or anything like that. And then we're gonna let that dry for probably an hour, 2 hours, and then we'll come back and we'll start to block sand it. And then I'll show you that, because we'll just do a close-up on that. Once you start block sanding, you'll see all these grains come out. So, all right, I'm gonna get to tack clothing. Just remember, you gotta get a shine on it. And that's the shine you're looking for. We're trying to get all this overspray out of here. Shellac is a very thin material. It makes a lot of overspray. We're gonna let it dry for about an hour, 2 hours. Then we'll come back and hand sand it with a hard block. And that will knock all these tall ridges down, and it'll make it look like wood grain. Okay, we're gonna wrap this video up. We have sanded this one. We're working on this one. We got a couple other things to do on the other side. I'm gonna show you a little close-up of what we did. It takes a little time, but you can use a DA sander or something, but you gotta really be careful so you don't burn through edges. But you're gonna see when we sand it, and you don't want to sand inside there, so. Yep. Yeah, then that gloss underneath, you can kind of see that grain, and that's it. We're just giving it some type of texture so it doesn't have cabinet coating like usual. I'm using 180 on a harder block. It's pretty hard. Don't use too soft of a block, but we'll do some close-ups of what we did here. Looks pretty good. Oops, come on. We just left this shiny up front, and then we kind of scuffed this a little bit in the back just to give it a little bit something different. So can't believe it. Then you just left that shiny, and then we scuffed that. So, and that's it. So we used the $7 in paint from the Sherwin-Williams store that was mist-tinted. Got it for $7, and that's what we used. It was way cheaper than primers and specialty paints. We used some cheap paint brushes, cheap rollers.